Growing up, I was constantly getting told by teachers that I was clever, and I was constantly failing exams and constantly failing. And on results day, when people would get their results, I could see in their faces they were looking forward to it. And every single time, I was dreading it because I knew I was going to fail, and I knew I had to explain to my parents why I'd failed and come up with some reason. Um, And in 2017, in September, I went to university and I was fucking sick of it. I was sick of it and I just decided I was going to focus and I was going to have discipline with studying where I'd never really tried before that. So fast forward November and I'm at university and I'm meeting people, having fun, but I'm also studying and being disciplined with it. And on the 8th of November, a friend reached out and messaged me. And I didn't realise this at the time because I've always been so shit at understanding emotions, but he was like, he was, he was in a bad place. He was in a bad place and he was reaching out for help. He just didn't say that. Because it's hard to as a guy, it's hard to admit that. And he says to me, why don't we, link up and get food? Obviously, I know I'm supposed to offer that myself, but I've just never been good at comforting people. Even if I want to, I've never known what to really do or say. And like, lucky for me, this guy was just like more confident than me, more mature than me, to be honest. So yeah, he recommended, why don't we link up on the weekend and watch some movies and get some food together? And because I was so focused on studying, I said, bro, can we just delay it by 1 week, please? And he says, of course, no worries. So exam day rolls around and I'm a little nervous, but not like usual. And I walk into the exam, and when I sit down, part of me feels confident because I read a question and I immediately knew the answer. Like, that never happened, but because I'd studied it just the previous week, really, I knew the answer and I felt confident. And when I left the exam, I also felt confident, which had never happened. I'd always felt like shit. But I felt confident. And to celebrate, I was with a mate at the time. We headed to McDonald's to go get like a McChicken and a medium fries or something cheap because I was broke at the time. I was at uni. And we're just basking in it. And I'm heading back to the library, and there's something motivating about sitting down to study when you don't feel like a failure anymore. When part of you believes it's worthwhile because you can actually pass. It's very motivating to go sit down. So I head back to the library and I'm sat down with a friend at the time and I'm studying for my next exam. And at that moment, another friend calls me. He calls me, and sometimes before someone even says something, you know that something's wrong. It's like, I don't know if it was the timing or I don't know what it was, but I felt scared. As soon as the phone rung, I remember feeling scared. And I picked up the phone and he basically just he didn't even introduce himself. He said, "Hey, I've got something to tell you. It's deep but true. Our friend has," he said, "the guy is dead." Um, and I remember when he said that, I kept saying like, "What? Like really?" Like I couldn't. I think I was in shock. And I just couldn't believe it. And he starts to explain the events that had happened, and I guess it started to sink in that yeah, our friends died. Our friends not, yeah. Um, and I remember this vividly. I hung up the phone eventually, and I turned to my mate who was studying with me at the time, and I just turned around to him and said, "My friend's just died." And like, obviously, he wasn't expecting it. He looked shocked, and he came over and hugged me. And fuck, I remember this so clearly. He came over and hugged me, and in that moment, I've never lost a friend before, and as he was hugging me, I remember thinking like any normal person would cry, like any normal person should cry. I've just lost a friend, and I was just blank. I was completely blank. Like there was just nothing. I don't even think I was thinking. I was just blank. Um, I remember when my friend told me, it felt like I got. I just felt a rush of energy or emotion. I don't really know what it was. I felt a wave of something hit me. I felt like I got hit by a fucking sledgehammer. But ever since I've been about 14, I used to cry as a kid, but since I've been about 14, something just broke in me where I just numbed myself and I stopped feeling everything. And so when he's told me that, even though I felt it right there, but I just couldn't cry. Like I was just detached from it. Yeah. As a kid, I remember crying. I remember crying a lot. I cried at random shit. Like, I remember crying at Garfield when I was about 6. Um, you're supposed to cry as a kid because it lets your parents and the people around you know that something's wrong. It lets them know that something's wrong and that you need help. So if I'm not able to cry, then logically that must mean that I don't want anyone to see how I'm suffering. I don't want anyone to know I need help, and I don't want anyone to think anything's wrong with me, because in the past when I've told them something's wrong with me, nothing happened anyway. So it's better for me to just block it off because it's not like it achieves anything. That was my thinking at the time. Yeah, because when you're crying, you're kind of in a vulnerable state and you got tears streaming down your face, and you're just uncontrolled, and I think I did see it as just losing control. Losing control when, as a guy, you're supposed to remain in control. You're supposed to remain in control because that tells friends, family, girls, definitely girls, that tells them that you're strong, that you're mature, that you can deal with it, that you're confident. You know, as a baby, it's fine to cry. As a kid, it's fine to cry. But as an adult, obviously not. Like, that was my thinking at the time. And so if I can avoid crying, then it doesn't matter if I actually need to cry. It doesn't matter if I feel sad. It doesn't matter if I'm suffering inside. As long as I don't actually cry, then I've not lost control, and I'm suppressing everything, and you feel it as a guy. You feel it when you've not cried in that fucking long. Something's part of you knows it's not right, but at least the people around me perceived me as strong, whatever the fuck that means. You know, and yeah, if I cried, it would mean I'm weak. No girl wants a weak man. Like, no girl wants to be with a fucking crybaby. Another reason that I think I couldn't cry in that moment is that when I was young, I grew up in a fucked up household with drugs and alcohol, and I think it was just too much for me to tank as a kid. It was too much for me to deal with. It was too much for me to deal with. So I've just turned the volume down on everything. Everything had the volume turned down. One event happens, it goes down by a little bit. Another event happens, it goes down by a little bit more than that until the screams of the fucking life I was living don't hurt my ears anymore. That was the strategy I picked, and I'm not saying it was even a good strategy. It definitely wasn't good, but it worked to some extent. The strategy worked, and I could survive at least. So when I've left the household and, you know, maybe like 19 or so at the time, it's not like I can just turn the volume back up, because I didn't remove the pain inside me. I just turned the volume down. So yeah, that's when my life got worse, because then to feel good, I have to party and drink heavily and have a huge amount of fun, because everyday stuff that should make you happy just didn't do anything for me. And that's when I started drinking and partying and doing drugs and being a fucking degenerate. But I had to do that stuff to feel anything because I was fucking broken inside. I remember asking myself, even if I can't cry, even if I'm just fucked up, why would I want to? What's the benefit of crying? Like, why would I even want to learn how to do that? And as I said, like something, and part of me knew it was wrong, so I went exploring. And the issue with not crying is that the cost of stoicism is unbelievably high, and it starts to control your life because, and the reason I say stoicism is because there's nothing stoic about being so afraid of feeling vulnerable that you structure your day and you cram it full with exercise, video games, learning, studying. You cram your day full of shit so you never have to sit down and think. There's nothing stoic about that, but that's from my limited mindset. That's how I viewed it. I viewed it as staying strong. But it controls your life. It controls your life from the fucking shadows, and the worst bit is that you don't even realise, because your mind will start to come up with reasons as to why that thing should be there. Basically, your logic is going to hijack your schedule, and anytime there's a situation where that might cause sadness to come up, your brain's going to come up with a reason as to why you need to replace it with a task, video games, or something. But the key thing is that the avoidance comes first. The avoidance of sitting still comes first, and the logic to rationalize it comes after. And I was a fucking expert at this bullshit logic, like rationalizing myself into a degenerate fucking robotic shit life. This is what my day looked like. So I'd wake up, and video games, they're fun. Let me play those. Junk food. Oh, but it tastes nice. Why not? Watching porn. Oh, but I'm just so horny, why shouldn't I? I enjoy it. Low effort friendships, because being alone terrifies me, but socializing exhausts me. So you keep people at the right distance as to where it doesn't drown you, but you don't feel that loneliness. And the worst bit about the life that I was living, the worst bit about containing all this is that I was stuck. I felt stuck. It's not that my life was complete and utter shit, but I was stuck. Habits that I wanted to develop and get better at, I couldn't quite, keep them up. I didn't quite have the discipline to upkeep that. I was stuck. And as I slowed my day down, started meditating and just being more still, feelings started to come up. And the good bit about that is that it snapped me out of the haze that I was living in. And suddenly I started picking up positive habits, like going to the gym regularly, working out, meditating. My diet got super clean. I cut out sugar completely. I still wasn't able to cry, but at least I was getting shit done. Instead of filling my days with gaming and just drinking and doing other degenerate shit, I'd be listening to podcasts about neuroscience and fitness and health and learning. And I was going to the gym 6 times a week. I was going out, meeting girls online, and I was progressing in work and chasing promotions and shit like that, which was better, which was better than what I was doing beforehand. The issue with it is that because my volume was so low, even though I'd started processing more negative feelings and I could get stuff done, it didn't really didn't really make me like my life more. I was just getting better at shit. I'd be hitting new PRs and shit like that, and obviously it feels good, but stuff started to get monotonous. The days just started rolling into the weeks started rolling into the months, and I just remember thinking, like, where the fuck did all the time go? Like, the calendar was just flying by, and I was progressing shit, but I don't know, something was like wrong. Like, I remember one day when I was meditating, and I basically, like, I don't want to say realised because it's obvious, but my family's getting older. My grandma's getting older, my mum, my dad, they're all getting older day by day, and I don't really have good relationships with them. I don't really speak with them. It's not that we don't get along, but I don't speak to them. And then I'm starting to think, like, shit, what if they die and I never resolve that? I'm like, I'd have that thought process, but then I'd have my next thing lined up, like I'd have gym in an hour. So it would like snap me out of it, and then I'd need to focus on gym. And I never really followed that thought down to the bottom. My life wasn't like awful. It wasn't awful, so I don't want you to think that, oh, you know, my life's not complete shit, you know, I don't need to bother exploring this. My life was fine. It was robotic and monotonous, but it wasn't like completely terrible, but I was in a bubble. I was living in a bubble which scared me because like, deep down there was a feeling that something could come along at any moment, burst the bubble, and when it did, I wouldn't be able to cope. If and when it came, I wouldn't be able to cope, and things would get a lot worse very quickly. And that creates fear, and if you're not processing that as it's happening, you're just building up fear, which is gonna fucking explode one day. I think the weight of life just got heavier and heavier on me, and as I said, I was still progressing. I'd hit a new PR in the gym, and I was still going to the gym regularly through discipline, but like these positive things, they used to be about like self-improvement. They used to be about like making myself feel good, doing something good for myself, and it kind of just became something through discipline that I just still did. There's like something missing. There's something missing, and it's hard to put into words, to be honest. It's hard to explain, but I felt it weighing on me. Every single day I felt it weighing on me. When I would wake up in the morning and I would open my eyes, I felt it fucking weighing on me. Just before I'd distract myself with my phone or some other fucking random bullshit. When I'd go into work and my co-workers would say hello to me and like snap me back into work mode, I felt it just before that. As soon as like I got back from the gym after work finished and I was by myself in my room again, it fucking came back. And when I was lying in bed, it was my sleep was fucked. Like I couldn't ever sleep good because as soon as I went to try and rest, like all this shit came up, and so I was just sleeping like fucking 4 hours a day doing stupid shit, which I know is bad for your health, it's bad for gym, but fixing it meant processing this, and A, I didn't know how to, and B, I fucking didn't want to, if I'm being honest. I didn't want to. Part of me did, but most of me didn't. And I was chilling with my girlfriend one day, and we were sat on my bed, and her mum at the time had cancer, and it was very bad. And I remember just seeing fear on her face. I remember seeing like a frozen look on her face, and I asked her, "Are you scared? Are you scared of what could happen?" And she just burst out crying. She burst out crying, and my ex used to cry all the time, but because I was so numb, it's like obviously I comforted her and waited with her, but it kind of annoyed me sometimes. Didn't annoy. I shouldn't say that, but it's true. It did. Did kind of annoy me because I thought I didn't get it. I didn't get it, and this time when she burst out crying, like my heart just bled for her. My heart bled for her, and I just held her in my arms while she sobbed, and I cried with her in my arms. I cried with her in my arms, and why did I cry? I cried because I cried for her pain. I cried because I could see it, and I'm not relating or comparing stuff because obviously I can't imagine what she went through. But I cried because I related. I cried because I was sad, and I cried because I lost a friend, and I never cried when I should have. And it just hit me that day, like I'm someone who always struggled with feeling like robotic. Like as I was progressing through life, I didn't really care about anything. I didn't see the point of it all. And the worst part about not crying and not feeling all your emotion is the first thing is that as you make yourself numb, you lose your ability to detect it because it's not like it goes away. You're numb to it, so you can't even fix it. You're kind of fucked. And like the even worse bit is that you turn down the volume on everything, and life loses its magic at that point. And that's why I started doing the degenerate shit I was doing. That was why you probably do the degenerate shit that in your life you're doing now. Like life's lost its magic. Like when you're connected and you're actually feeling yourself, the desire to do any of that stuff's just non-existent. But as you live life and shit happens, it's hard to process it. I'm not blaming you. I'm just sharing my journey with this really, and yeah, where I've come to be really. And after letting out all that sadness, all that fucking pain in me that was just stored up over so many years, I never felt like it's like my mind got cleared. Like the relief that I felt from letting it out it's hard to explain because it wasn't even that much. It was like, I don't know, like 10%, but the relief that comes after shit's not getting worse anymore. After it's a little easier rather than every fucking day it's harder. It's hard to describe how impactful for my life that was. It's hard to describe how clear my mind was after that day. Like I've never been so certain on what I need to do. I've always been uncertain on what I need to do. And I remember, like literally not long at all after that happened, I reached out to my grandma and said, I need to come round and visit you. I need to come round because I miss you and I love you and I'm sorry for not coming sooner. But it was hard for me to realise that in the fucking bubble that I was living in. I've not figured life out, and I'm still living with guilt, to be honest, that I didn't do all of this sooner, and I'm just very lucky that I have my loved ones still alive where I can do this. And if you've not, then my heart goes out to you, and if you do, then I'm just urging you to reach out because you will regret it if you don't. And obviously there's some people that I can't say that to anymore, and I can't apologise to, and that's something I just have to deal with. Yeah, if you've had experiences of guy crying, or anyone really, or if you've got thoughts on this, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, let me know, and yeah, rest in peace to the people that I mentioned, and I'm not going to say the names out of respect for the families, but yeah, thanks.